Here in Las Vegas, it's a little crispy. Our average days are like 109, 110 degrees.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
So
it looks like we're live on YouTube now, which is great. I'll give you the link if you want to share it.
Okay.
And I just sent you the link on Twitter, so you have it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Chukuma? Can you hear the background noise?
Oh, don't worry. My background noise will be a dog barking when the Amazon man comes by. All right. So it's Sunday morning. I couldn't be happier to have Michelle Okafor from South Africa on today. I'm Chris Champion. Let's tell your story.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so it was just a very impromptu, meeting yesterday with you, and you asked if I could come on the show, and I was very delighted. Yeah. So as you can, the book I've got was actually my second book, and I wrote that just in a matter of 6 weeks, really. Yeah, Chris. So really, my story, what happened. So I've been working for about 20 years in corporate, and with the pandemic, actually, when it started and we all had to suddenly go into a hard lockdown in South Africa, I was working from home. I have 2 boys, 8 and 10, and we had to do homeschooling. We had to work. I had to go onto a Zoom meeting. Sometimes we would all be at a 10 o'clock Zoom meeting, the 3 of us, and we're still looking for, meeting IDs. And I realized that I was neglecting them, really. I mean, I would leave in the morning on a regular day. Before the pandemic, I would leave at 7:30, drop them at school, and get back here at around 6 p.m., when it's dark. And I just realized, I didn't want that anymore. Yeah, and I actually made the decision just at the end of May. I said to my boss, look, sorry, I'm not going to stay. My kids need me. This homeschooling and, with the virus being everywhere, I said, look, I'm going to go, yeah, and start my own thing. And I was lucky. Yeah, I was lucky enough, I had some savings. And that's what I talk about in the book as well. I'm giving younger women just some insight because, and some guidance, what I didn't have, 20 years ago when I was 20, because I think, you kind of fumble your way through, as a young girl, maybe, fresh out of college, with your first job and making decent money generally, and then, we make the wrong choices. So that I touch on that in the book as well. Yeah. So being at home with the kids, then I could actually write these 2 books. So Women of the Pandemic is really just guiding young women to make better choices.
I think it's a perfect book because it's amazing. We've got all these changes that are happening to people's lives. And you're a mother and you have 2 kids, and the pandemic, it's not so much the pandemic as much as the lockdown. The lockdown is what's really changing things. Here you have to now, make sure that both your children not only get the schoolwork that they're supposed to get, but you also have to make sure that they're actually learning and growing as individuals. Because 8 and 10 years old, that's the middle of their growing years. These are years where they're gonna learn so much about who they are, who the world is around them. They're gonna absorb knowledge, and you've had to literally adjust on the fly.
That's actually it. I think people, don't realize, because we got the announcement a week before, the president made an announcement, and then, on Thursday night, this is Sunday night, making an announcement to say Thursday night, everyone's going to go into this hard lockdown. Chris, and I don't know if you know, but South Africa, we had one of these very strict lockdowns. I mean, nobody could go to work apart from essential services. You could only go to buy food and to go to the doctor. And in that time, I think, and that was about 5 weeks. What do you do? And this is all of a sudden. I mean, and that's why I think it's so hard. I remember when my boys were, they were both under 2, they're about 18 months apart. And that's where I'm thinking, because I could hardly cope then without a pandemic, and that's really, and I want to tell women, you're not alone. It seems like it, because physically you are, but we've been through it. Other women have been through it. They've come out okay. Yeah.
I think
So,
books like these are important because you're writing not from a position of what you think you know, you're writing from a position of what you know, because you're in the middle of this, you're doing this. And you're also
yeah,
inspiring them. You're saying, hey, listen, it may be dark and it may be an unknown path that you're taking, but you can get through this if you do X, Y, and Z.
yeah, and I just read yesterday on Twitter that, the second wave is going to be the mental health. All of us are going to go to psychiatrists and psychologists because people don't know how to cope. And, I know my book, there's a myriad of things out there to read and to get some guidance from. But I feel that, just to tell someone, and comfort them, this is going to pass. You're going to be okay. It's okay today if you want to, lay in bed and, cover your head. And then, you get up tomorrow and you fight again.
Yeah,
So
I think that
that's,
messaging is so important, and it's important for women more than men because, women are the emotional sex. Men tend to keep things inside, and I think things like your book is something that you can almost use as a way to heal people, so that they can literally get through this and see that the other side does have a light at the end of the tunnel. Because we look at the news these days, the news will make you want to kill yourself, every single day. Oh my God, it's worse, it's horrible. People forget this virus, 99.7.8.9% of the people that get it are going to be just like fine. But we focus, on every day as you turn on the news, you see all these numbers that are just horribly negative. And I think more than anything, people have to find the light at the end of the tunnel. People have to find messaging that inspires them, that makes them stronger. And believe me, women have it tough right now because homeschooling children, I don't care if you've got a Zoom connection and a teacher, which here's the sad news too. Some homes only have 1 or 2 computers. So now
that's true.
you've got a situation where, how do you get that information? How do you get that Zoom call in when you've got one source in some homes? And in some homes, say they don't even have any computers. So we're living in a day and age where people need hope, they need inspiration, and they need guidance. And that's something that I thought right away from the get-go, your book is doing for women.
Yeah, Chris, that's so good that you mentioned that. I mean, here in South Africa, the average home doesn't have a computer. I mean, there's a work computer maybe, and the government is, they're not doing enough. So people are actually, the children are at home, for 4 months now. Yes, you can collect the notes from school. Those are the ones that are, no one was prepared. So the teachers were even, less prepared. The kids are at home, and now, so the lockdown has eased a bit and the parents have to go to school, the parents have to go to work, but the schools haven't all opened yet. Where do you leave your kids? And I know, you read about it to say, but school is not supposed to be a daycare center. But, how did we cope? That's how our parents coped. That's how it's been. Because, you have to work to pay the rent. So, and the kids have to go to the daycare. So I think, that's just the situation.
Yeah, I think the lockdowns have disrupted the family life unit, especially when you have children, because you've now got a situation where if the kids don't go back to school, that puts undue pressure on the mother and the wife, or in many cases, also the father. And
Mhm.
now you've got a disruptive situation where you have to say to yourself, how do my children get a schooling and an education and that social connection when they're not going to school, when they're locked out of their school? And on top of that, if I have to become their teacher, am I really that qualified? Am I the person that they should be learning from? And if they're going to learn from me and be homeschooled, how do I give them that social connectivity that kids desperately need?
Mhm. Yeah, there's this talk that the universities are going to go all online and pay $50,000. And, that's okay when you probably 19, 20, 21, but when you're 8 and 10, and, everyone just has this choice now to say, "Oh, I don't need to send my kids to school, send me the material, we'll do these lessons." And, there's obviously, a class of people that can afford that. But for the child, that's in the house, who only has the mom now with the siblings, if there are any, and it's actually scary because I thought about it. Also, we can do home deliveries now. You don't have to go out to the shop. So when do the kids socialize? And that may be convenient for the parents because look, I'm working from home anyway. I've got my eyes on the kids, but for the kids, I think they grow up, they're going to grow up in an environment where, they think everyone's a stranger. Because remember,
So,
you have that community. Yeah.
so here's a question: do you want your kids to go back to school?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, no,
Do
they
you
they will be.
do you,
Mhm.
do you feel that the virus is a threat to your children? I think
Um,
to date, I literally think to date in the United States, not one child under the age of 18 has died from coronavirus.
Chris, I think it's not so much the kids. The kids are actually going to be fine. What happens is they bring it home. Well, if that, I think, and then it's
I
mom
don't
and
think there's
dad.
any studies that say children are carriers of the virus either. Uh,
I
I don't
just
think
think
there's.
that yeah, that they just so there's just such a big a possibility of them getting it at school when they in bigger groups. But yeah, no, they may not bring it. I think you have a more of a chance of picking up at the supermarket probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think school should open. They said that more people have died in car accidents and we haven't stopped driving. you know
Yeah. Well, I
so
mean, somebody told me the other day, we haven't found a cure for obesity, but we still send fat kids to school. Shout out to all the fat
yeah.
kids.
Yeah, so
So
I
let so let's talk about what you expect your book to do for women. What are you trying to do for women overall?
Chris, I want to just be a light, just really that beacon of hope. And if they get it just in one chapter, in one paragraph, in one sentence, because it may not all appeal to everyone, but yeah, I just want to tell them that it's okay. It's going to get better. You're not alone. Yeah.
Cool. Who are some of the people that have inspired you in life? Who are some of the people that you look up to?
Well, I talk about it in the book as well. So definitely Oprah, Oprah Winfrey,
Shout
Michelle
out,
Obama.
shout out to the big O.
Yes, and Michelle Obama as well. I hear she's going to be doing a podcast. I'm very excited on
Yeah,
Spotify.
she's doing it on Spotify. Her and Joe Rogan have recently brought their podcast to Spotify. So yeah,
Yeah.
Michelle's. I don't know, who do you think got paid more money by Spotify, Joe Rogan or Michelle Obama?
Good question. Yeah.
It'll be
So,
interesting to
Chris,
see Spotify's stock over the next coming months. They're starting to become a platform for some of the best podcasters out there.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about podcasting actually, and I think obviously starting small, but just because then you can connect to more women, and it's more one-on-one, and even if you have an audience, but with them hearing you immediately, there's sort of a feedback and a rapport, hopefully. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What would you call your podcast?
That's interesting. I haven't thought about it. I used to have a fashion design business, and I called it Michelle Okafor African Designs.
There you
But
go.
I'm not sure if
Are
yeah.
those some of your artwork over your head?
It's actually some weave baskets from Kenya. Yeah.
They look cool.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So yeah, I used to have, and I talk about failure as well in the book. I used to have a business. I actually say if you Google Michelle Okafor, you'll find those bright African prints. We used to manufacture African print ladies wear dresses and skirts, and also for weddings and special events. And I just ran into this cash flow crisis, actually, out of nowhere. You think the business is going along. This was in the second year, Chris, and I think you're never prepared, and you feel that you are a failure, a total failure. You'll never be able to start anything again.
Well, it's funny because I read a book the other day, or maybe like 2 weeks ago, and there was a line in the book that said, "Fail fast and succeed." And failure is the greatest lessons, the greatest teacher you will ever have in your life. When you fail, you learn a lot of shit. But when you're succeeding, you don't learn anything. You're like, hey, everything's great. Let's, full steam ahead. You don't even know why
Yeah,
you're going full steam ahead. You don't even know how orders are coming in the door sometimes. But when you fail, you know exactly how you failed. You're like, I ran out of cash. That's a problem.
yeah, and then next time, next business, you're going to be, very aware of your cash flow, money coming in and your expenses, keeping them low. So, I just want to tell women it's okay. Try as many things, try lots of things. And some may work and some may not, but, give it a try.
Are you familiar with a restaurant chain in the States called White Castles?
No, I haven't heard of it.
When we get off this talk, you should Google White Castle. It's a small cheeseburger or hamburger about this big and square. It's the greasiest thing you'll ever put in your body. And when I was in high school, me and my friends would go to White Castles because back in the day, you could buy one, I shit you not, with cheese for 15 cents. So if you had $2 on you, you could line up 12 of these burgers, slap a little bit of ketchup on, and you were a king for the day. So we would go there and we would play a game called Pickle Flicking. Have you ever pickle flicked? Yeah. Have you ever pickle
No.
flicked? It's a game. So we would take a little bit of grease from the hamburgers and we would dip our finger in it and we draw a line across the glass window. And we would take a pickle and all of us would flick it up above the line. Now, some of the pickles would bounce off, some would stick and not do anything, but every now and then you would get a pickle that stuck on the glass and slowly slid down to the bottom. And whoever's pickle did that won the race. But
Oh,
what
wow.
that taught me in life is pickle flicking is like life. Sometimes you do all this planning and you throw that pickle off against the glass and it bounces off and you have an immediate failure. Or sometimes you get it up there and it sticks, but it doesn't go anywhere and you have a slow failure. But every now and then you just plan everything right and everything just goes your way. You flick the pickle up there, slides down, win, 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 win. That's what life is really all about. You just got to take chances. You got to get out there. You got to give it a try and let failure be your teacher. Let it teach you the lessons that it's going to teach you because you're never going to learn unless you try.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so true. I know that. So I went to my hometown, where my mother's from. I had to go there about a month ago, and it's a small town, and I saw that some of the guys that I went to school with, that we finished school they were the cashiers in the restaurant, and some of them at the petrol station. And and I thought back, and just thought to myself that could have been me, because we all had the same platform. It wasn't that one's education was better than the other, but for some reason, some just decided, some guys just decided to stay back, because, from a small town, now you have to go to Cape Town or Johannesburg, the bigger cities, to go to university, or even to go and look for work out of your comfort zone. And, a lot of people would just want to, I'd rather stay back, and for them, and, everywhere, around the world, I actually really want to tell those guys, listen, you have to take that step, maybe there's somebody right now thinking about whether.
So yeah, you talk about comfort zone. Tell me a little bit about what it's like for you to have gotten out of your comfort zone. Maybe writing your first book was a little bit of an uncomfortable process.
Definitely, and now I'm almost starting over, because, I was at this corporate job for 5 years, and I didn't think I was going to hit it off right away. I mean, I've got the books, and somebody asked me yesterday, is it on Amazon already? Is it here? And I've just published it on Gumroad, and that's where you can find it now. And I know that my website
By the way,
needs some update.
your links are going to be under this video, so we'll try and get you plugged
Wonderful.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, for $9, it's a great book, and I think every woman out there should read it, because even if they pull one thing out of it that gets them to move forward, to move out of their comfort zone, heck, even if they just understand that there's a voice in South Africa telling them that, hey, you can do this. I believe in you.
That's exactly it. And I started writing, blogging a long time ago in 2017, 3 years ago. And,
it seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Like everything last year to me seems like it was 10 years ago. 2020 has packed in a lot of stuff in just 6 months.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a year.
I'm telling you, yeah. So, Chris, for a while, if somebody just want to go and read those old blog posts, because I wrote something, yeah, and a reader brought it up, and I was like, oh wow, be so good they can't ignore you, and that was
be
a post
so
from
good they can't ignore you. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, and somebody just, and that's the nice thing about the written word, and I would think, oh, but I'm a different person now to when I wrote that. But for somebody else, it may be just, the thing that, the spark they needed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what does your roadmap look like? What are some of the things that you're going to do over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months?
Wow. Chris, I just started on this journey, and I'm still finding my feet. But definitely I thought of, getting a podcast going. And, even sort of a coaching group, if people, would be interested.
So
but
being
I
a mentor,
think
getting like a paid group where you can mentor a large audience of women.
Yeah, and maybe, speaking engagements, that how nervous I was coming on air today, but I think, just do it enough.
It's funny because you were reminding me yesterday of when I was first learning how to swim, and I had no lessons, no nothing. And I would sit there for day after day after day at the pool by our neighborhood. And one day, my grandmother came with us, and she's 80 years old. Nobody wants their grandmother with them at the pool, so it's kind of embarrassing. But I would literally stand there at the edge of the pool and find out of nowhere, my grandmother comes up to me at the edge of the pool. She's wearing her muumuu, her slip-ons. I'm like, oh God, grandmother, what are you doing? I call her Mutti, and I said, Mutti, what are you doing? She goes, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just standing by the pool. And she's like, you have 2 choices. You can stand by the pool for the rest of your life, or you can swim. I'm like, all right, Grandma, I'm not ready yet. So she's like this small, fragile, 89-pound woman. And out of nowhere, she takes me, and I'm, 10 years old at the time, and she pushes me into the water. I didn't realize the water was 4 feet deep, so I could basically stand up in it. But I started swimming out of nowhere. And
Mhm.
literally, she goes, look, you're swimming. She goes, I'm going back
Mhm.
home. Come walk me home so you can swim later. And it was that push into the water by a literally an 80-year-old woman that was 90 pounds soaking wet. And granted, she pushed me into the 4 feet end, which after a while of flapping around the water, I realized, oh wait a second, I'm not going to drown. I can stand up in this stuff. But sometimes life requires somebody to give you that tough love where they push you back into doing something that's uncomfortable. And whether it's
Mhm.
writing a book, whether it's starting a business, whether it's teaching a master class, whether it's getting a paid group of people that look up to you to be their inspiration, their guidance, their hope. These are things that people have to start doing now because we live in a digital age. And if you can start
Mhm.
giving some value via video or voice, then you can get compensated for that. People will pay you for that value, for that knowledge, for that direction, for that inspiration.
Yeah, Chris, that's exactly it. We know that people are losing their jobs, all over the world. And I mean, you don't need much to start. We on Twitter all the time, and you on Facebook and everywhere. I mean, you need that internet connection. You know, have an idea, get going, because and as we move away, everything is being decentralized. You don't need to go to an office anymore. So there's so many people. I saw Tyler was on your Twitter. Sorry, Tyler from Twitter was on here on the show, and he's doing great. So
Shout out to Tyler. Yeah,
yeah, and there's a
he is
few
hustling
others.
and flying.
Yeah, there's Chris Johnson, Todd, Ashley Johnson. I just wanted to say hi to them because they're doing amazing stuff. They already um, letting people know, listen, this is possible. You know what I mean? So because people don't have those role models.
Look how amazing the world has become. You're in South Africa. I'm talking to you in Las Vegas. Chris is in Las Vegas.
I know.
Oh, hold on one second. Can you hear me okay?
I can actually hear you better now.
That is weird. I don't know. Kind of hoping. I have no idea what happened. So the interesting thing is the world has gotten so much smaller. And here's a guy, Chris Johnson, who's giving away so much positive energy, so much leadership, so much direction. And his sister, Ashley, she's doing the same thing. Todd, what you're starting to see is people want to congregate, people want to get around other people that are like-minded, that are positive energy. And those groups, those tribes, as I call them, are going to be the ones that work out of this nightmare lockdown, this nightmare pandemic, and they're going to grow from this. And here you've got amazing people all over the world that are connecting through video and voice and building this massive positive tribe that helps them move forward in life rather than making this be a bad thing. They're transitioning into something bigger and better.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. Here I am far away, and we have the same platform, and you just need, people to see it. And I think that sometimes, you're so clouded with your circumstances and what's happening today. I think that's for a lot of people, when I told them that, look, I'm going to have to, quit the job and go. And everyone was, they were, it was a calamity, because how could you possibly think, first of all, that you can make it? I mean, you're not special, Michelle. Yeah, and I think people they're so stuck in their ways, and how they've lived and how their parents have lived, and Chris and Ashley and Todd are telling us that, listen, look, we can be millionaires, and you don't need anyone to tell you what to do. You wake up when you want to, you do what you like, and you can get paid for it handsomely. I mean, we see that every day.
I couldn't agree with you more. Listen, I can't thank you enough for making time to tell your story and talk with us today. I'm going to enjoy watching your journey. And I think it is just that, it's a journey.
and you're going to grow every single day, and the people around you are going to see it and be a part of it. And you're really, I think you're really finding some really good role models to put in your life and to follow and to learn from. And I think at the same time, people are going to learn from you, and you're going to have so much that you can give to people in a variety of ways. I think it starts with your book, but I'm almost sure that there's going to be more things that you develop and create. And that's what being a creator is all about. So thank you so much for your time. Michelle, I truly appreciate you today.
Oh, Chris, I must say thank you. You know, you extended the invitation. I was happy to come, you know, as prepared as I could be, a little nervous, but I'm so happy I came because, you know, I realized just now talking to you that so many people need to hear the story. You know, they need to just have someone to look up to, or, you know, to know that there's a way out, you know, out of their circumstances, that they can grow, they can become something, you know, someone successful. Yeah.
Sure. She is Michelle Okafor. I am Chris Champion. I thank you so much. If you want to find Michelle, you can find her links below the video. Look her up, get her book, find some inspiration, follow her. At the end of the day, we're all in this together. Michelle, peace out.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.